Hello and welcome to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. This is your co-host Josh, and just me at the moment because, we're going to do things a little bit different this week. As you know, last week we just did rookie week, so we just did quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends, and then eventually just made our big board. To everyone who has watched this week, we do appreciate you, and we thank you for being able to tune in to all of our scouting work. But for now, what's next is we are going to be discussing the fantasy stats from every single NFL player of note from last season. So this episode was actually pre-recorded about a month or so ago, and we go into the quarterbacks of last season. As always, don't forget to hit us up on the socials. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't forget to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, along with YouTube. Enjoy, guys.
Totally agree with you there.
I have something else we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we get into our QB situation. There was a trade.
There was a trade.
There was a trade in our league between Tyler and Jacob.
Yeah.
The trade. So Tyler traded away Alvin Kamara and a second round 2022 pick for Devontae Adams and Leonard Fournette. How messed up was that trade?
That was a steal.
That is a complete steal.
Especially if Kamara is suspended for some games.
Yeah.
Here's where I can see Jacob's logic here. Is that you're upgrading from Kamara to Fournette. This in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then Adams, you already have so many receivers that Adams isn't as valuable to him as he would be to like someone like me, for example.
Yeah.
And the second round pick kind of helps seals it. However, he could have gotten one more player, and there's one person I would have said to help future-proof you, and that's Rashad Bateman. I think if he added Rashad Bateman, this trade would have been a lot better.
He probably could have even gotten DJ Moore.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have gone.
So I wouldn't have gone for DJ Moore.
Maybe Gage. I don't know.
Gage would have
I
been
wouldn't have
interesting.
even gone for Gage.
I think Gage
is only relevant until they find another wide receiver number one.
I think you could have snuck in CD.
They pick somebody up. Gage is going to be a wide receiver too. Again.
Yeah. The only thing about Tyler's team is he only has really one young running back, and that's Javonte Williams. Because Aaron Jones and Fournette are going to be done here within the next 2 to 3 years, and then he doesn't have anything after that. I mean, he's Devontae Foreman and Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds, but they're going to be sharing a backfield.
Yeah.
Both of them will be.
Yeah.
Actually, now thinking about it, Deontay Foreman on Carolina is pretty good. He has Justin Fields and Deshaun Watson, so I think he's banking on a team being desperate enough to go after one of those two.
Yeah. And see,
I will say though, here's what I will say: if you need a quarterback, if you believe in Justin Fields, now's the year.
Yeah.
Because they will not be good this year. Unfortunately, I think they're stuck in a lot of bad contracts to where I think he won't show development till year 3. That's just my opinion. I think he's flashed enough to where I'm like, okay, I know you can do this, but
there's talent there.
Yeah, but I think it's not going to show up till year 3.
Yeah.
Who has him in our league?
It's Tyler.
Tyler has Deshaun Watson and Justin Fields.
And Murray.
Derek Carr.
Carr. Somebody needs to.
Yeah,
Tyler,
that's where the thing.
Look at this. Look at his bench.
Trade, please.
He's got DJ Chark. He's got Michael Gallup. He's got Russell Gage. Rashad Bateman. Gesicki, Kmet.
Yeah.
All on his bench.
So if you need a young wide receiver or a young QB
or a young tight
end, hit up Tyler.
What I will say for Jacob is that I don't think he got enough.
Yeah.
And I think he should have had one more player, just one more future player, just to kind of keep yourself afloat. And then I obviously Fournette, great pickup, and Davante Adams maybe not hit the same level as he had with Aaron Rodgers, but I would say the upgrade is in coaching. Because I'll take McDaniel's over LaFleur. I mean, they're close, but McDaniel's is still top notch for me.
Yeah.
And on top of that is the only thing this could get funny is if Fournette has an issue with a new O-line. Because obviously Donovan Smith, Schwartz are there. Both his guards are gone though.
Yeah.
Jensen's back, but they're going to have to replace guards. Like
and they did a lot of inside zone in Tampa Bay.
A lot. And so that's where it's like you're probably Tampa's probably looking at Kenyon Green or Zion Johnson, whoever falls.
Yeah. Maybe even Linderbaum because he can probably flex out to guard.
Yeah, Linderbaum he's a zone. Honestly, I feel like Linderbaum, if you're in a man gap scheme, don't draft Linderbaum. And Tyler Linderbaum, the center from Iowa, he's very much a zone scheme guy. And so I can totally see like either not in Miami because they trade all their picks, but like San Francisco second round.
Mm-hmm.
Like that just seems like the best fit. And then to get him reps, move him out the guard.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Atlanta is going to move on from either Deion Jones or Grady Jarrett in the draft?
I think part of their problem might be the restructures they've all done. I think it might, if anything, I think maybe it's a post June 1st, but on top, the kind of the issue is this: at some point, you just have to build with what you got, and it's really dependent on how you feel about Deion Jones and Grady Jarrett. If they're going to be your two like cornerstones of like the team, just to kind of keep everyone together, then I say it's worth keeping them regardless of the dead cap hit. And that's kind of one thing personally, kind of more in the real football than fantasy here. That's where I feel like Cleveland went wrong. Cleveland did the whole trust the process kind of deal, but what you did is you basically created a culture of losing, reset, losing, reset, losing, reset.
Yeah.
And why I think it's so hard for them to win now, because you go back to what you know. And I think with Baker, it wasn't like we're just going to push through with Baker. And I think Baker did enough to show that he was good.
Yeah.
Obviously, they wanted to go after Watson, which, there's all,
you have
all
to.
the other. You kind of have to. On the field, you have to.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is that it has inadvertently created a win or bust mentality. And the culture is that we're just used to resetting. So I think Atlanta, what they're going through right now is that you have to ride a line of, yes, we're rebuilding, but also we need to create a culture here of people that are going to play.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like Deion Jones and Grady Jarrett will stay, in my opinion. I think with Matt Ryan, because he was already the MVP, he took him to one Super Bowl. Like he's done so much for them already.
Yeah.
That it was like,
I mean, it's just kind of over. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But like Deion Jones and Grady Jarrett, I think they can be good when they're still in the prime of their careers. I think Atlanta, if they do everything right, there's 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of potential going forward. But today is the start of our STAT-A-THON.
STAT-A-THON.
Yep. STAT-A-THON. So we're going to be doing this for a good part of the offseason until post-draft when we'll come out with our big board. So be excited for that. But we need to talk about our quarterbacks today. So Ryan, why don't you start us off? Give us your first quarterback for today.
Yeah. And
I thought we were just going down.
Yeah, we're going to go down through the list here. We're going to tell you kind of, I'm going to just say the top 10, and then we'll start with the in-depth from there.
Okay. Well, I kicked it to him because look at who's number one.
Yeah. So it is my quarterback on number one, Mr. Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. He was QB1 for at least the last.
Let me say something. If you disagree with what we just said and with what Ryan just said at home, you're probably still riding from when you drafted Patrick Mahomes in the first round and it killed your season. I'm sorry. None of us are sorry for you. You deserve to lose.
Yeah, I'm not
Ryan,
sorry.
Continue.
We don't make the rules here. We just follow.
We don't make the rules. We just laugh at your bad
rules.
fantasy decisions.
No, I don't make the rules. These are
at
just straight up facts.
Yes.
Right, straight up facts. Josh Allen ended the season QB1
started this
with reason. With reason. His stats have proven it. Yeah. He was one of 3 quarterbacks to rush more than 120 times. More than 120 times. The only ones that rushed more than 120 times were Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. Those are the only 2 quarterbacks that rushed more than him, which is surprising. And I mean, he passed for 4,400 yards with a completion rating of 63. The completion rating wasn't that great, but I mean, it was lower than average.
Lower than average, but the
QBs of his.
But there is so much that Buffalo goes, Josh Allen, you do it. Yeah. So the completion percentage doesn't bother me whatsoever.
Yeah. But the completion percentage makes up for, the rushing makes up for the completion percentage. Because honestly, like
which was a little low, but
he was a top producer. In the first couple of games of the season, he wasn't doing great, but he finished the season strong and came into the postseason very strong. So, the difference between first and fourth on our list was 50 points in total. That's crazy. That is crazy. So, I think he's still young and with a good receiving core, and a great team around him. I think he's going to go into next year being at least a top 5.
Yeah, no, Josh Allen's incredible. Legitimately.
I love Josh Allen.
Yeah, I love watching him play because, it obviously, his third year in the league, it just finally clicked. Yeah. And once it did, buddy.
And when he had somebody quality to throw to.
Yeah.
He was throwing to who? John
Robert
Brown?
Foster, John Brown, Isaiah McKenzie.
John Brown was his
nobody.
QB1.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And I knew as soon as Diggs went over to the Bills, I was like, okay, that kid's gonna blow up.
And he had the
Stephon Diggs.
Ooh, if I'm not mistaken, he had the highest yards per carry as well, right? Josh Allen did.
I will double check. Yes,
yards per carry. Yes.
As far when it comes to quarterbacks, yes. Yeah, 6.25 yards.
Tyler Huntley.
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, it was actually Zach Wilson. Oddly enough, 6.38.
Zach Wilson had some scrambles that were insane.
Interesting. Okay, so second to Zach Wilson, which feels wrong to say, but it is a fact.
Yeah, but
see, my only concern with Josh Allen is with this new OC that's coming in. They may start to focus more on the passing game with him and less on rushing. And they might, be pushing the rushing off on Singletary and Moss.
I am not worried whatsoever.
No, and that doesn't worry me at all.
Yeah, the OC I do want to say though is Ken Dorsey, who was the Bills quarterbacks coach last year.
Yeah.
So it's just a step up.
Yeah, but he may try to put his own spin on things.
Yeah.
But because putting too much on the shoulders of a young QB. It makes him great, but it also wears him down real quick.
Well, because the only thing that derails Josh Allen is an injury.
Yeah, that would be the only thing that would derail him.
Exactly. So
and he was a short yardage runner, like Singletary or Moss, and that O-line just could not do anything short yardage, so they had to rely on Josh Allen.
Yeah. So I think they're going to be giving the ball off a little bit more this season.
Yeah.
And taking some of that weight off of Josh Allen. But other than that, I'm not worried about his production because, he's going to be throwing the ball, running the ball, whatever he has to do to get the first downs.
Taking whatever he wants.
Oh, yeah.
Ethan, let me tell you something. I know we're talking about Josh Allen potentially not running the ball as much next year. Imagine Dameon Pierce with Buffalo. Because I think that would be a lot of fun because it lets...
Interesting.
Because the thing with Josh Allen, what I love is that no one is asked to do more.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're like, Josh Allen, the offense, you're going to have to make a play.
Yeah. The only one who tries to do more is Patrick Mahomes. But
yes. Which we will get into later. But overall, I think it can only get better. Or if anything, I think maybe the interceptions go down. But he's throwing the ball so much, which that's why even though there's a 63% completion percentage, not worried whatsoever
No.
because no one is asked to do as much.
Right. Which isn't anywhere near the worst, which is Trevor Lawrence, but
I don't.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and even with the OC change, I don't think there's going to be a giant step off or anything.
But I mean, you look at that. I mean, that 43% is that's a little glaring of a completion percentage.
63.4. Or are you talking about?
No, 43 for Trevor Lawrence.
Oh yeah, Trevor. Yeah, we'll talk about Trevor Lawrence then.
Oh yeah,
at some point.
All right. Anyways, let's go to number 2 though.
Let's go number 2
is my quarterback. So for most leagues, this is the number 2 as well. But Justin Herbert. So we have a whole spiel on the AFC West. We spent, I don't know what, about a week texting back and forth, the three of us, just talking about the AFC West and how ridiculously loaded it is, because
it was an arms race.
Yeah, I mean, in this division, you have Justin Herbert, probably the second best consensus quarterback in the NFL. Okay, you have Russell Wilson, who arguably next year might be in contention for the most improved player. And then also in that division, you have Derek Carr, who finally has, multiple wide receiver weapons. Yeah, a number 1 wide receiver option, not a tight end, right? And then you have Patrick Mahomes, who's been, Mr. Football for the past couple of years. Right.
That has lost Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, that has lost Tyreek Hill, but that offense will still probably be good. They're going to figure something out. I think they're going to find a late round wide receiver, some depth, and they're going to be okay. But let's talk about Justin Herbert. So Justin Herbert was probably arguably the only one close to Josh Allen in terms of production, averaging 25 points to his 26. So it was a matter of 12 and some change point different.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of rushing yards, that really wasn't his thing. It was kind of like really big if the play broke down. That's what he would do, but he's not really a design runner. He did have a decent amount of rushing touchdowns at 3. But in terms of completion percentage, he's up there with the top at 65%, which that's not bad in my opinion. I'll take that. It's not, Tom Brady levels. It's not,
but this is,
some of the other people.
Sophomore.
Yeah, I mean, as a sophomore,
5,000 yards passing is.
I think he's only gonna improve from here on. Sophomore for 5,000 yards and 38 touchdowns. I will take that.
Yeah, 38, 15. I think it only goes up from here. But like Josh Allen,
he was. Oh, go ahead.
Like Josh Allen, he was asked to do so much because that defense sucked last year.
Right, and now with all the moves that they made this year, I mean, Khalil Mack coming in. You've got some secondary help coming in. If I'm the Chargers, I'm in love with what's happened because you actually have a defense now that can produce turnovers, right?
And stop the run.
Which was arguably their biggest problem from last year, was stopping the run. And then now you've upgraded your offensive line a little bit, which that's something I want to talk about. The Chargers were ranked at the end of the season last year, the 10th best offensive line in the NFL.
Massive improvement from the year before.
Yes, massive. Now they have a new tackle to replace Norton, who was their lowest performer, which is good. And I believe they picked up a guard as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they picked up the New England corner.
Oh, J.C. Jackson as well.
Yeah. Well, they have J.C. Jackson in the secondary.
Yeah.
But so they have Rashawn Slater, which is one of their best draft choices that they could have.
Incredible draft choice.
They have Corey Linsley, who is one of the best centers in the NFL. And then their left guard is Feeler, which is an above average starter. And then they've basically redone their right side of the offensive line. So I if I'm a Chargers fan, you upgraded your right side of the offensive line, which is what you needed, because even though Justin Herbert wasn't running for his life like some quarterbacks, it's still the right side. There was clearly a weakness there. And then defensively, you can stop the run now, and you have an interception threat in J.C. Jackson to get the ball back. And if I have a defense that's creating turnovers and giving the football to my sophomore quarterback who just threw for 5,000 yards, I'm in love with that as a coach.
Yeah, like let's think of it like this way. Having like that defense now, I think it may dip his fantasy point like total just because he doesn't have to be relied upon so much. But I think you will see better quarterback play.
Yeah, I say he's still QB too.
I say he's still within the top 5. I think maybe like 50 points is the margin for the top 4 quarterbacks. So I think we're splitting hairs at this point. So he could go from QB2, QB5, and I still say, he's still nothing changed, honestly. Right. And he incredible talent. I mean, averaging 25. I can see more like touchdowns going up if you're able to like control the ball a little bit more. Yeah. Eckler's still there. They re-signed Mike Williams. Keenan Allen's still there.
Keenan Allen's still one of the best.
Yeah, and we'll see what Josh Palmer is. A really underrated signing I like, though.
Yeah.
Gerald Everett. I think that fixes tight end a little bit because I think Jared Cook is good, but he was getting up there in age. Everett is still like 27.
Yeah. No, I think Josh Palmer has a lot of potential in the slot. Like RIP Jalen Guyton. We kind of said this in our free agency episode. But I think Josh Palmer has a lot of upside. I think even Mike Williams is going to take another step forward. I think he's going to be a little bit more consistent than he was this last season.
I totally agree with you there.
Especially with Keenan Allen getting older, I think they're going to rely more on Mike Williams. So as long as he can stay healthy, I think he's just going to continuously improve until he hits that, like 32, 33 wide receiver gap. But that's still a couple years out for him. I believe he's 27. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or 28?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there.
Yeah, he still has a couple of good years of value and of growth for this team. Maybe not as much as Josh Palmer, but over these next 3 years, he's going to be good.
And obviously with Herbert, doesn't run the ball as much, don't care. Right. This man can light it up from anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still going to throw just for – because, he threw more than 600 – or just about 600 yards more than Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Threw more.
And had a better percentage.
And what's crazy, and I'm looking at it right now, he really roughly only had a little under like 27, 28 more passing attempts. It's so much more vertical when it comes to LA.
Well, when you have an arm like that, and when you have Mike Williams,
his throw against the Giants is still one of the prettiest throws I have ever seen. Because that was a 70-yard rifle.
Yeah.
Perfectly placed.
I'll tell you what, the one thing I think with the Chargers, though, that will happen that might drop his stock a little bit is with this improved offensive line. I think they're going to rely a little bit more on controlling the game, aka running the football with Eckler.
I wasn't even going to say that. I was just going to say an improved defense, just because it's like now the big thing is that when you have a defense that can actually produce stops on their own, it actually, for Justin Herbert's sake, he doesn't have to score on every possession now.
Yeah.
And that was kind of just like this, like almost like this mentality that you kind of had to have with that offense, because the run defense, like that team was getting controlled by what other teams were doing because their run defense was that bad.
Yeah.
But now that when you have that improved, you can set the tempo. We'll see
you
what
can
happens.
Screen, you can play levels, you can you can zone run.
If anything, the playbook opens now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why, I think he's going to do really well next year. I don't think he's going to have another 5,000-yard year.
I think he'll be close. I think we're thinking
I think he'll
still be 700, honestly.
I still think he'll be a high 4.
I'd probably 45 to 47.
Yeah, 45 to 47.
I don't think because he's not, the defense will be a little better. He's not having to either play catch up or, keep scoring on every single drive.
So let me bring this. Let me give you an over-under
here. To perform so much.
Over/under 9.5 interceptions for Justin Herbert next year.
Under.
I go under as well.
He's not going to be forcing.
I'm going to say I'm going to say over.
Fair enough. Because I'm thinking, like, if he can just cut that by 5 interceptions.
Well, I mean, if you look at the top quarterbacks, they're taking chances because, I mean, over here you have 15 for Josh Allen, you have 15 for Herbert, you have 12 for Brady, you have 13 for Mahomes. That's really surprising.
Oh, the craziest one is Aaron Rodgers.
17 for Stafford, 14 for Burrow, and then 4
37
for
to 4. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
now
crazy.
we won't see that next year without Devontae Adams.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Like he doesn't have that chemistry.
But doesn't even matter because
passes.
But overall, I think Justin Herbert's value is still really good. I think in terms of a pure passer with less interceptions, I think that's going to help his value a little bit more. I think Eckler. I combined Austin and Eckler. Whatever, don't mind me. We're all struggling today. We're just getting back into it. I think Eckler's biggest Eckler. Eckler's status for next year is just. If you can get him for cheap, I would get him.
That's the one you traded for.
Yeah, that's how much I believe in him, though. Like, I'm not just saying, "Oh, go get Eckler" without actions, bro. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you to go get Eckler if I myself have not already gone out and gotten Eckler.
That is very true.
There you go.
Now, I think Eckler's huge for next year.
So this is where the list kind of gets fun. Would you believe me if I told you Patrick Mahomes is quarterback 4?
Yeah. After this last season? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
the way he played.
The way he played
a little bit lower,
I was thinking, like, man, QB 12, or I was kind of doing all this. I'm looking
probably
at,
like 9 or 8.
Wow, he was still a top 5 quarterback?
Definitely. The way he played definitely wasn't a top 5.
Definitely a down year. And I think if we did a consistency grade on him, he would have had, like, he had spike games, but he didn't necessarily have, like, that consistency.
He didn't spread the wealth.
Yeah, he did not. But like, if we look at his stats, 66 completion percentage, 4,800 yards, 37-13, like overall pretty solid.
Are we not going to put respect on the GOAT?
Well, I don't think we have it listed down, but we'll talk about him. We'll talk about him afterwards.
Okay. We're going to talk about Mahomes before the GOAT?
Why not? I mean, you want to flip it right now? We'll do it.
Tom Brady, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Talk about Mr. Inconsistent this last season. Mr. My wife runs my life and my brother talks too much. Go ahead. Talk about the poor guy that has to go home to those two. Yeah, go ahead. Mr. Michaela's first overall draft pick. He'll appreciate this part.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He'll be the only one.
Yeah. Here's why I'm interested with this. Largely because I'm looking at all these stats, and I'm looking at 9 fumbles and 4 fumbles lost. That's pretty bad. It's one of the worst there. But like, the thing that has me intrigued is all the offseason changes. So they rebuilt the O-line last year. Yeah. But that
didn't go as well as they wanted.
Which didn't go as well because they couldn't get a good wide receiver too. Sammy Watkins leaves for the Ravens. They didn't.
It was a lot better. It
was a top 10. It was a top 10. So like it wasn't terrible.
Yeah,
but it was a great improvement.
Yeah, and what's crazy about this is how different will.
Yeah, it was number 5. Their offensive line was number 5 in the NFL.
Wow. So you went from really bad to really good. But the problem is they didn't have another weapon there. They had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Byron Pringle, and Mecole Hardman made some cameos. But now when you go into 2022, and this is where I wanted to talk about Mahomes for this, I think you get a completely different offense next year. And I think it's one that will focus on controlling the tempo, controlling the pace of play, controlling the time of possession. And I don't know where Mahomes kind of fits in that. Maybe he's not taking as many chances, but maybe they're just going to be a way more balanced offense. This is kind of how it feels to me.
I hope they can slow him down. I really hope they can slow him down.
And I will say, like, not having that deep threat does throw things for a bind. But this is the next development of Mahomes. I think is going to be really fun to see. Can he throw people open? The answer, I think
I think the answer to that is yes. Because here's the thing with Patrick Mahomes. I think he's an athletic freak, and we've seen that part of his game. But I think he's a really intelligent quarterback and he just hasn't had to use that yet.
And
that's what I'm excited for this season. Yes, now is the perfect time because he's is he 4 years in now or 5 years in?
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years in. This is going to be his 5th year.
Yeah. So he's 5 years in. He knows the game. He understands the game, but now he needs to prove it.
And now he's going to start.
I know how to make the reads. I know how to make
the play.
Yeah, he's been now it's to elevate everyone else.
Athleticism for the last couple of years. And now that people are starting to catch on, he's going to have to start playing smart rather than just athletic.
Yeah.
So,
and I think they signed Ronald Jones, so that's not a good look for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You have a stable of running backs where it's.
I'd like to publicly apologize to Jacob right now for giving him both CEH and Calvin Ridley. It is what it is, bro.
I'm glad you did that because
it is what it is. I'm sorry.
I've never had faith with CEH.
I really liked how he played at LSU, and I thought they would use him along the same path.
But I think that's the wrong team for him.
I think it is too.
I did not have a good feeling when they drafted him. I was like, oh crap.
All right, I know we're small tangent. CEH needs to go to Arizona.
I would love that for him.
That needs to happen.
Or even the Rams, I think he'd be good.
Ooh, Rams could be interesting. I would say Arizona.
Back to Mahomes.
First, but back to Mahomes. I think this is going to be the first time where this is the biggest test because either or you're going to have basically Mecole Hardman and Travis Kelce and a rookie receiver. Now, depending on where they draft a rookie receiver, since they have 29 and 30, we'll see what happens. But that's a good Christian Watson area, either Jahan Dotson.
That could be Jameson Williams area too.
Yeah, depending on how far Jameson falls. But even in Olave, possibly. Yeah. But
if there's a real big slide at wide receiver.
Yeah, but either way, you are going to have inexperience at the wide receiver position. Like he kind of inherited Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Mm-hmm. Now the team has basically shifted to this. Patrick Mahomes, make the play. And that's something we haven't seen yet, but I am very fascinated to see because I think Patrick Mahomes could do it. Now, what does that mean as far as from a fantasy aspect? I think he might be in the latter part of the top 10, like a QB7 and a QB8. But until the talent develops around him. So I think this may be a potential small down year. Yeah. But he's not going to kill your team though.
No, not by any means.
I mean, not going to kill your teams. And honestly, people in dynasty leagues are just starting up. Mm-hmm. Get him.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be good for a long time.
Wouldn't take him with the first round pick, but man, if you're looking at 4 or 5,
Michaela,
somewhere in there.
Oh man,
we love you, Michaela. If you're listening, we're not here to bash you. You're great.
Ryan did that. No association.
That was all Ryan.
That was all Ryan.
All Ryan.
Now we get to the GOAT.
My wife's her best friend. It's fine.
Your wives? You have more than one? Hey yo.
I said my wife is. My wife is.
Hey yo, stop the podcast.
All right. So
GOAT talk.
Number three.
Tom Brady.
You want to talk to him? Or you want to talk about him?
Yeah, we have to respect the GOAT.
We have to respect the GOAT.
Get it, Ethan? You wanted to talk about him?
My new starting quarterback, baby. Tom Brady. I mean, what is there to say? He just looks so smooth. I think there's going to be some interesting things with Chris Godwin potentially missing parts of the opener. But I mean, he's one of the more accurate QBs in the NFL at 67.5% completion. I mean, that's really good. 5,300 yards, which I believe was the most.
He led the league in passing yards.
Yeah, so led the league in passing yards, 43 touchdowns. I believe that's the most as well.
Most passing attempts, if I'm not mistaken, as well in the league. That's 719.
Yeah, 445. Oh yeah, sorry, 719 completion and 45. Yeah. Most completions. Yeah, I mean if you can go get him for really cheap right now because he probably has 1 or 2 more years, and you think that you can contend, I would get him because he is just. Yep. I mean, he's the GOAT. There's nothing else to say about it.
Nothing else to say besides that. Literally last year, he did not look like Father Time could touch him.
No.
And
he was also sitting behind a great offensive line.
Number 2 in the NFL. I was just about to say that.
Yeah, that's
number 2.
That's where it gets interesting because you do lose your 2 starting guards from the year
Kappa
before.
And Marpet.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
the one thing about Tom Brady. His one Achilles heel is you hit him a couple of times.
Oh, and he's done.
And you get in his head. He's done.
Yeah.
He's done for the game. You got him.
I think they're going to be okay. I think they're probably going to be looking in the guard direction this draft. And there's there's
Zion Johnson, Kenyon
Green. So, and they'll be in range for that, kind of that end of the first round. Or no, they don't have a first round pick, do they?
They should.
Don't know.
Let me see where they are in the draft.
Yeah, they do have a first round pick because they didn't trade for anybody.
Let's see here.
Yeah, see, I think he falls just shy of the top 5.
They have the pick 27
this year.
Yep, pick 27. So yeah, I mean they're in range for Kenyon Green, and I think that'd be great value at 27. But as far as the other guard, I guess we'll see what happens. But don't bet against Tom Brady. If we've learned anything within the last couple of years, do not bet against Tom Brady.
Yeah, see, I don't bet against him, but I don't necessarily believe he can be Superman every year.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about Superman.
That's where I feel like the Leonard Fournette signing is crucial. Because if you were like, hey, you're gonna have to play without Godwin, you obviously lost Antonio Brown to what that was. Yeah, we give you Russell Gage, very solid, but you're just gonna have to pick up the pieces and go. And that's where things get a little interesting. But I'm happy that they brought back Fournette just to have that continuity back.
Yeah, because honestly, Gage makes me think of like some of the things that Godwin can do, which is really running good routes and getting open. And when you have a guy like that, Tom Brady excels as a QB.
And that offense is just the most dangerous with 3 receivers.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to be fine. I don't think they're going to miss a beat, honestly. They're going to have Tom Brady. I think Mike Evans' value is going to be a little bit higher towards the start of the season, is going to drop dramatically when
he is a perfect candidate. Mike Evans is a perfect candidate of buy now and then trade when he's hot.
Yeah. He's going to be the new DeAndre Hopkins, but
hey, don't disrespect. Actually, no, you're not disrespecting Hopkins. We're just going to disrespect Cliff.
I'm not saying he's going to be better than Hopkins. I'm saying his value is going to be similar.
Yeah,
to DeAndre Hopkins.
I actually do agree with that. So yeah, I mean that's goat talk for you.
Did you see the stat that came out that says the highest or most dramatic QB rating change when throwing to wide receiver is DeAndre Hopkins? I think it was like 141.7 QB rating when he's on the field versus off the field. Like it was something ridiculous like that.
I mean, it just makes sense because all right, and then we can talk about this a little bit when we get down to Kyler, who is our QB 10. Yeah. I think so many players transcend the system. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that stinks because I really liked what I saw from Cliff year 1. And then from year 2 to year 3, I don't think there's really been that much of progression. I think he's kind of like dug in his heels to be like, this is the way we're going to be doing it. And I think we're finding the weaknesses to that air raid system.
Yeah.
And largely part of it is I think you're getting like almost a stunted route tree. Mm-hmm. There's lack of variety there. I think the pace is actually what's killing them more than anything because that messes up what you can do because you're stuck to a personnel and then you just have to find a way to make it work. In a way, I feel like they're actually closing their own box on themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas the first year, because there were so many injuries at the wide receiver position, that they had to be creative. How do we use tight ends? Like 12, 13 personnel. And then we just got to get Kenyon Drake the ball. And that actually helped open things up for Kyler.
Yeah.
And right
we'll
now,
hit that when we get there.
Yeah, we'll do that when we get there. But in the meantime, Tom Brady at number 3. I don't expect him to.
I don't expect him to leave the top 5, in my opinion.
That's how you say. The more I was about to say,
I think he's outside of the top 5 this year.
Because for next year, I mean, my top 5 is Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Brady, and probably Joe Burrow. That's my top 4.
We'll get to it later on. And yeah, professional tease to see where I have Tom Brady next year.
But now I think we just kind of briefly hit on some of our other quarterbacks, other than who we've researched a little bit.
So yeah, let's start with
let's start with more to go.
Yeah, let me tell you, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 and 10. Matthew Stafford, quarterback 5, Joe Burrow, quarterback 6, Aaron Rodgers, quarterback 7, Jalen Hurts, quarterback 8, Dak Prescott, quarterback 9.
Is all the rushing.
Kyler Murray, quarterback 10. The biggest one I'm intrigued with here is Hurts, because it's almost not by throwing the ball, but I do think that Philly will make the moves to help him there.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so too.
I'm intrigued with Jalen Hurts more than anything. Like if we look,
they just can't get a hit on a wide receiver. That's their only problem. Mean, they've been trying for year after year after year.
They are a prime receiver. Like I think one of their picks is going to be a linebacker and a receiver.
Yeah. But it's just like, who's finally going to work out? You know, who is finally going to get us?
I think they kind of overthought,
and they almost hit it with CD. If Dallas had not done what Dallas did, they would have hit with CD. But
I think that's where they panicked, and instead of Jefferson, they picked Rager, which unfortunately, I think Rager just hasn't had the right role.
Oh, what an L for them!
Yeah, that was bad. That was pretty bad. But overall, I think again, that was in the team. They're like, Jalen Hurts, you're just gonna have to do it. 139 carries, 784 rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns. He did fumble the ball quite a bit, so we hope to see that go down. And then I would obviously like to see the passing yards go up. I'm gonna love seeing what Philly does this year, because I think they can go in 2 directions, and I want to see what they do there.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is probably going to stay in the range that he is right now. He was 6th last year. He'll probably stick around there for.
I think so too. Because I think there's a lot of teams, they're going to figure out how on earth did Cincinnati make it to the Super Bowl and then act accordingly. And I think a lot of it's just going to be, hey, maybe not let him throw deep.
Yeah. Well, because he had one of the better completion percentages in the NFL.
Especially with deep accuracy.
70%? Yeah, 70.5%.
Yeah. He was super accurate. I mean, on 34-14 is really solid. We'd like to see interceptions go down. But, I mean, that's still really good. 4,600 yards. Granted, 2 of those games were when Baltimore had nobody. But
inflated stats. He shouldn't be QB6.
But the thing is again,
it's all collusion in the NFL.
But again, here's the big thing about Joe Burrow is that they ask him to do so much. It's like just make the play, just make the play, just make the play. Yeah. My fear about that is that it's really easy to figure out. Make the play, make the play, make the play. And so now it's like, what else is going to happen? That's where it's everything's on Zach Taylor to improve this year.
How do we scheme Joe Mixon to help out?
How do we scheme? How do we manufacture targets for Jamar Chase and T Higgins and they just lost Uzoma, so we'll see what happens.
What are we going to do at tight end?
They've got to make
that's Trey Joe honestly Burrow Trey McBride written all over it.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers, I don't see him topping this list next year.
I think QB
is going to be
outside of the top 10.
I agree.
Unless they do something crazy at receiver. That's the only way.
Unless they find somebody in the draft that is a superstar receiver or at least a very good receiver.
I just don't understand Aaron Rodgers, man. I don't understand how you can say, I want to win. I want to be the best. I want to go get another Super Bowl and then take this ridiculous quarterback contract. Now, is he one of the better players in the NFL? Was he the MVP twice for 2 years in a row? Okay, yeah. Was it merited? Absolutely not. And that just kind of overinflated. He's already got a big ego to begin with. And then now you're going to pay him all this money. You have to get rid of Devontae Adams. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
They offered
They offered
Devontae
more.
Adams a
Devontae
contract.
Adams was going to leave regardless. But you have to remember, though,
Devontae left because he wanted to leave.
And he
wanted to go to the Raiders.
It's not like I hate like Aaron Rodgers or anything. As far as we know, it was all from my home team has always been the Raiders, and I've always wanted to play for the Raiders, and now was the perfect time to do so.
Now's the time to go do it. Yeah, Derek Carr's my former QB. Yeah,
exactly. Like I mean, we're looking at it here, guaranteed. 3 years, 150, guaranteed at signing is 101, and then the total. Yeah, it's. Wow, that's fully guaranteed. Holy crap. But
I'm just saying, like, that deal's not friendly for getting free agents.
His base salary is 1.1 million. How they did some interesting stuff, how they worked the deal.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
But anyways, I think that's all really worth mentioning. I mean, Dak Prescott, there's not really much to talk about. He's just not performing to what expectations are.
Well, I think Dak can improve to where I think he'd actually be a little bit more consistent. But do I believe in Mike McCarthy? Absolutely not.
Nope.
And why would you give up Amari Cooper for Michael Gallup? Got no idea either. So that's
good old
I lost Cedric Wilson.
Good old Tony Pollard.
Yeah, Tony
that
Pollard
should be your favorite player in Dallas for getting rid of Amari Cooper
and Zeke.
Zeke is the one that's super expensive right now.
Yeah, but Tony Pollard wasn't cheap either.
But you got Tony Pollard. He's younger. He's got a lot more like spunk, man. Like you can see it out on the field.
Yeah, he's explosive. But I'd rather have Amari Cooper.
I'd rather have Amari Cooper.
But would you rather have Amari Cooper over Ezekiel Elliott?
Yes.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's why they should have gotten rid of Zeke.
Yeah, I could have agreed with that but the only problem was they signed Zeke first, and then Tony Pollard makes a big stink.
That's where it's just
it's the way it went down
there. Yeah, it's the way it went down. Like you're stuck with Zeke.
Yeah.
Sadly,
because you can't trade him because you'll be like Atlanta and take a huge, dead money hit. But
yeah, so let's look through 10 through 15 because there's really only one person I kind of want to talk about. We already talked about Kyler Murray ad nauseum, but 11, Kirk Cousins. Good for you,
Mr. Youth Pastor.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill at 12, Lamar Jackson at 13, Derek Carr at 14, and Carson Wentz at 15.
And I even see Ryan Tannehill's value going down with King Henry coming back. Yeah, I see him more outside the top 15.
I mean, it was crazy that Tannehill.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think Tannehill kind of like stays somewhat around this level. I don't expect him to kind of blow up, but I don't expect him to completely crash and fall to earth. Really, I mean, there's only two people here that will for sure be in the top 10 once next year is over, and that's Derek Carr and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and Derek Carr's my dude to talk about right now because
get him.
My gosh, one second.
Lamar Jackson is going to go up, in my opinion. While
top 5 for me.
Lamar Jackson, he'll be top 8. But go ahead.
Derek Carr is 14. He was ranked 14 out of everybody, but yet his stats are similar to Mahomes in a lot of areas, which is really just crazy. Let's see. Let's go.
4,800 yards, 23 touchdowns, 14 picks, and let's not forget.
So
Derek Carr did this with a head coach getting fired mid-year. You lose your top receiver due to a tragic car accident that he caused, and obviously is in prison and got released. And then your tight end does absolutely nothing, basically.
Other than get injured.
Yeah, other than get injured. Literally, Derek Carr put the team on his back last year. It was the face of the franchise amidst all the public scrutiny and literally kept the ship afloat. They made it to the playoffs. Well, what he did is extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was amazing. Like he really did put the team on his back. The things that really hindered his production, at least his fantasy production.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously lack of touchdowns, lack of getting into the end zone. He just couldn't, I think losing Ruggs and then just not having a tight end that could get there. He was having to rely on Renfro a lot.
And Renfro responded, which is
he did. But also 13 fumbles.
Yeah,
that's
13 fumbles and losing
with a cleaner system, and a actually good head coach and less pressure on him personally, I think he's going to do a lot better.
I think one thing they need to do in this offseason is get their O-line up, because they were ranked 29th last year.
Yeah.
So they fixed that O-line problem. They brought in Davante Adams. He has a solid target now that's experienced. If they spend, the effort on an O-line this offseason, I think he's going to be a top 10, maybe even top 5 QB.
I also want to bring up the coaching change.
Yeah.
Especially in this situation, because with how Gruden was, he very West Coast, longer developing play action, and McDaniel's what made it work with Brady so well was the kind of the fluidity of the pace of the game. It's like, okay, we're gonna go no huddle now. Oh no, now we're gonna go slow, and then quick passing. I think it may shore up a lot of problems, and that's where Renfro I see can have a huge year. Plus, you already have Davante Adams there. I think a lot of the fumbles issue was more of the fact that Derek Carr was just having to wait.
Yeah.
And I think with McDaniels, and I think they will scheme up ways for him to get the ball out quick and then keep the offense rolling like that, and then hide the O-line problem. Because unfortunately, they don't have a draft pick till the 3rd round.
Yeah.
So that's where, and obviously they paid Davante Adams all that money. We'll see how the cap kind of plays out. I could double check that real quick, but overall, I think Derek Carr.
But they still ran the ball incredibly efficiently.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be too worried. I love Josh Jacobs. Yeah.
I think it gets better with Josh Jacobs.
So Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Next person on the list.
I was going to say
not much to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll slide in just a little rapid fire note about Lamar. Lamar this past year, like you saw earlier in the year, it was all dependent on his arm. All his top stats. Yes, he ran the ball quite a bit, but he had to throw the ball when needed and succeed.
To Mandrews.
Yeah, to Mandrews. Hollywood was on fire beginning of the season. Yeah. I only expect that to continue. I think Lamar Jackson is going to be a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
I agree with that.
Let's go down. There's the next
Wentz,
person.
There's not much to say.
Yeah. Wentz. Good luck.
Just isn't performing. It wasn't Reich, because that was his coordinator. When he was an MVP candidate in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia. Sorry. Sometimes the Texas accent comes out a little bit. Texas accent. I don't believe in him. I don't think he's shown us anything that he can be that player again. And going to Washington, I don't think that's going to help.
I think you may get something similar, but there's 2 quarterbacks at least on this list that I expect to make jumps that will overtake him. I think you're looking at a QB 18 to 20 kind of range. I think it'll help you in the streaming spot, but I don't think it's someone you should rely on.
Yeah. I think that's all there really is to say about Wentz. I think we should just move on to the next person, QB 16, which I want to talk about.
And Ethan, who is QB 16?
QB 16, this might be a surprise, but it was Russell Wilson. So obviously injured the finger. That was a huge knock on him, but still averaging almost 20 points a game, even with the injury and some of that happened on the beginning parts of the year. He was on fire, and to end the year he was on fire.
He was just a finger injury, and then
it was just a finger injury, trying to get back from it. He was a little bit slow on it. It took him about 3 weeks. Yeah, it took him about 3 weeks, because when he came back, that was week 5, he gets injured. misses week 6, 7, 8, and 9 was their bye week. Comes back week 10, 2 interceptions, not really great. He was 20 for 40 for 161 yards. So kind of struggled against Green Bay, but Green Bay's defense was pretty good around the middle of the year. So there was that. Then you go up against the number 2 ranked defense at the time in Arizona. He's 14 for 26 in that game. No touchdowns, no interceptions. He's still trying to just get it back in. Then he comes up against Washington, starts to get back in it. San Francisco, he's in his rhythm. 2 touchdowns. Houston really gets into it, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then that's kind of where he started getting it back. Obviously off game against the Rams, but to end the season against Chicago, Detroit, and Arizona, Seattle looked phenomenal. But
one thing
I think.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I was just gonna say, going forward, Russell Wilson to the Broncos. There's huge upside with Tim Patrick. There's huge upside with Jerry Jeudy. I love this offense that the Broncos are going to give him. Now, offensive line, kind of middle of the pack. They were ranked 19th. Run efficiency, they were good. Yeah, I mean, it's better than what he had in Seattle.
Yeah,
I will say
that's what I wanted to bring up.
Josh.
Was the fact that, we've been talking about this for years, and you see all the career stats, how many times Russell Wilson's been sacked over a 10-year period, but literally, no one. Seattle said it's instead of "we need you to do this," it was "Russell Wilson save us." Yeah. And I like so much. I mean, last year obviously he was quarterback 16 amidst all the big changes is still really impressive. Mm-hmm. But I think the next year can be even better because now he doesn't have to be asked to do much. He has a better support. I would say even a better supporting cast.
Yeah,
Alberto, Javonte, and then Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler. There's just more depth and a way better O-line. So now we're finally
Wale at tight end.
Exactly. Alberto. And I think with Russell Wilson, especially, I think you're going to see Russ actually cook.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to be a top 8 QB. Yeah. Maybe he can push that a little bit more. But
I completely agree with that.
I love that move for Denver. I love that move for Russell Wilson. He's not going to be running for his life anymore. He's going to have a little bit more time. It's not going to be anything crazy. It's not like they're a top 10 O-line or anything.
But just having just at least one step better can make all the difference.
Yeah. So I think Russell Wilson's going to be excellent next year.
And I will also say, the other thing with last year, especially with how the O-line's not bad. And I don't think they're 19th best. I think they're actually a little bit better. And a large part of that is because your quarterbacks last year were Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. Mm-hmm. And I think their play made it look bad on the O-line. But the O-line was doing great. Melvin Gordon had a great year, and Javonte Williams, which we'll talk about next episode, where they ranked at the end of the year. And I think with Russell Wilson, he has shown to elevate play. And I think he will elevate the O-line play for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
So we have a couple more to go. Actually, we have one more to really go in depth with. But let's just kind of run down the list. Garoppolo, quarterback 17.
Choked in the playoffs, most of the year.
Taylor Heineke at quarterback 18, only get replaced by quarterback 15.
Yeah, he has no help.
Yeah, Mac Jones, quarterback 19. Now getting Devontae Parker. That should be one to look out for. Matt Ryan, quarterback 20, but on a Atlanta
had
team.
The worst offense probably in the NFL.
Exactly. Now he goes to Indianapolis, who has the best running back in the league. He's only going to go up.
I see him improving a lot with Pitts.
I can see either low end QB1 or high QB2 area for me.
I would say probably high QB2.
Ben Roethlisberger retired, but he was quarterback 21. Trevor Lawrence at quarterback 22 amidst whatever last season was for them. But I think expect him
absolutely horrible
with Doug Pearson.
I think it's comparable to what happened to Joe Burrow in his first season. I mean, obviously Joe Burrow did a little bit better.
Yeah, he did a lot.
All right. I'll give you a better analogy. Jared Goff first year in LA.
Yeah. But I think he can improve a lot, especially with the roster that they're starting to build and with the coaching change. I think Doug Peterson was a great move for them.
I think just to bring stability, and I think that's a good move. And the more I think about it, Teddy Bridgewater, quarterback 23, goodbye. Baker Mayfield, goodbye. We'll see what happens with Baker. I still think Baker's good. Like he was really good last year. I think the worst thing he could have done for himself was to play hurt. And unfortunately,
he should have taken time to recover.
They decided to upgrade instead of actually reward him for that. Right. Quarterback 25 is Jared Goff.
Mr. Interception himself.
Exactly. But the person I want to go to, and this is kind of the last person we'll go in depth, is Tua Tagovailoa. Because here's the big thing is Miami's gone all in with him. Obviously, there's Waddle, there's Tyreek Hill, Gesicki's back. You signed Terron Armstead, Mozart, Chase Edmonds. Like they've given him a bevy of weapons. Oh, Cedric Wilson on top of that. But when you come have a quarterback that didn't really run the ball all that much, he only threw the ball 388 times, just to make I have the right person. 67.8% completion percentage, not too bad, but was 16-10. Like at this point, I think he's been all okay, but the problem is that team does not have the time for okay quarterback play.
Yeah. I think QB 26 and 27 are in the same position. So just really quickly before we get into him, QB 27 was Daniel Jones. So what Daniel Jones and Tua have in common is it's this or nothing.
Yeah.
You're either gonna get it right this year, or they're gonna start looking, to the rookies, to other potential free agents.
Who do you have more hope for now that you bring up Daniel Jones? I have more hope in Tua as well.
Yeah, because but look at the roster they built. You have Tyreek Hill, you have Jalen Waddle, and Gesicki. So I love that.
I think also like the
with
coaching
ETN
staff.
coming.
Yeah, ETN.
ETN coming in.
ETN's in Jacksonville.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Oh, sorry, not ETN. But who was it that came in for Miami?
Mozart, Chase Edmonds.
Mostert. Okay, it was Edmonds. That's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
sorry.
Edmonds.
I confused Edmonds and ETN. I apologize.
At least the last name.
Both start with E's. Yeah, I was thinking E, and I was like, yeah, ETN. No. Edmonds coming in. I think he's going to be electric for them and changing it up. I mean, rest in peace, Myles Gaskin. But Edmonds is going to be really good for them. Their receiving threats are in place. I think he's going to either dramatically improve or Tua's in trouble.
And I think Tua's
let's
think of it this way. Head coach Mike McDaniel, obviously he's going to be calling the offense. He just got done with a quarterback with Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think that play style really fits in line to Tua.
Yeah.
Tua doesn't have the strongest arm. He can be quick with it. He can be pretty accurate in the short to intermediate. And what's the best thing about McDaniel? He like Kyle Shanahan will scheme you open, and they have two receivers who will take it from there. So as long as you can scheme them open, get the ball to them, then you see what happens.
I agree.
And so I think with Tua, I think you can have you'll have a dramatic increase no matter what. Like I would say like quarterback 14 to 15 at least.
Yeah, I can see him going up there and taking a spot from like Tannehill or something.
Yeah, and with potential, I would say to get into the QB1 range.
Yeah, no, I agree. But we're going to see. We're going to find out really quick. Yeah. It might be the start of next year, and it's like, oh, wow, this team is really good except for Tua.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, boy.
Like, we're going to find out, are they winning with Tua or in spite of Tua?
Yeah. But that brings us to Danny Dimes. I'm pretty sure he's going to be on his way out. Yeah. That sucks for New York. But, I mean, in his defense, it's the New York Giants and the wide receivers who can never stay healthy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of unfortunate for him.
I do like it.
We'll see.
I do like it that Dayball's there because I think Daniel Jones and Dayball's a pretty good pairing. Yeah. However, I expect Galladay, Kadarius Toney, John Ross, and all of them to stay healthy? No, I really
absolutely
don't.
Not.
But I will say this is the best running back Dayball's had. So I'm really intrigued to see how they use they use Saquon Barkley. And I think Saquon Barkley can help out Daniel Jones quite a bit.
And I see the Giants are taking O-line help at the start of this draft, so that can help their performance a little bit. Because defense wasn't necessarily the problem. Their defense was actually relatively good, but I think they just need one or two more pieces on the offensive line, some injuries to go their way, as in not, staying healthy.
And that's where hopefully having the new regime in there can help.
And a better scheme.
I would say Evan Neal definitely would be one, and then you can shift Andrew Thomas. Because I think Andrew Thomas is all right.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's left tackle worthy.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can kick him into guard or go right tackle. And then, but overall, it'll be interesting to see how Daniel Jones, because he's only played 11 games last year.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But that's where it's like, I mean, from when he did play, though, like there were flashes. They won't show up statistically, but there were flashes. You're like, okay, I can kind of see it. And then it's just marred by terrible.
But ever since he tripped on that long run where he almost scored, it's just never looked good for him. That's been his downfall.
Oh my god!
But I mean,
if only he had scored, man. If only he had scored.
If Dayball was calling quarterback runs, so let's see what Daniel Jones can do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that ends our QB stat-a-thon.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all the stats and all of our play that we talk. We go in depth to what we see from the year before to see how to do the next year. Obviously, pre-draft and a lot of moves that still need to happen. But now we bring back a good familiar segment that we did at the end of every episode last year. Our bust, sleeper, and lock quarterback edition today. So we're going to go bust, as in who do we think is going to drop dramatically on this list, who is our sleeper, who is going to have the sharpest rise, and then who's going to be a lock for that top quarterback one, that top 12 list. And I don't want to go first as far as the bust.
Yeah, Ryan, go ahead. Ryan, take us away.
Who is your bust? Okay, who's going to drop the most?
It's not going to be a popular bust. People may get mad at me, but I think Pat Mahomes is going to bust a little bit.
I mean, after what we were saying, it makes sense.
He may not bust all the way down, to past the QB 10, but he's definitely not going to be. I don't think he's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be a considerable drop. Yeah. Like for some of you that are drafting him in the first or second round, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do
it this year.
Wait.
Don't do it.
And especially if you're in the keeper or dynasty league, you're playing for the year after. But especially in the redraft league, would not draft him.
Don't panic. Don't panic and sell him.
He's still young. He's really young.
And if he does great, then make the move mid-season to get him.
Yeah. But don't panic and sell him. But just hold on to him.
Yeah.
Don't draft him high. But I think that's my bust. So
that's fair. I would agree.
Ethan?
So my bust is probably going to be really unpopular, but I think Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott is going to drop from QB9. I don't know how far. Maybe in that 14 to 18 range, probably I would say. But I just don't believe in that offense. You lost Amari Cooper. I don't have faith in Ezekiel Elliott. I don't have faith in that offensive line holding up. Yes, the number one rank, because it's the Cowboys. They're always number one.
But they struggled.
Yeah, but they're just struggling offensively. He's struggling to be consistent. I think the defense is going to regress a little bit. I don't think they're going to cause as many turnovers as they did last year. I just see him as falling a little bit.
Yeah.
Guys, y'all thought y'all's picks were unpopular. I have Tom Brady as my bust.
Wow.
So here's why. So part of it is him, part of it is not. It's the fact of, yes, Russell Gage is there. Chris Godwin's coming back from injury. You lose. There's a lot of pieces that were lost from the past year onto going this year.
Yeah, you lose your key guards. That's tough.
But the other thing is kind of big here. He threw the most last year. And now going to this year where we kind of already gotten the quotes of like, I know I don't have much in me.
Yeah.
I think this may be the year you see the drop off start. And I don't think it's going to be a crazy one to where it's like, oh no, Tom Brady sucks. No, but does he move out of QB1 range? I think he could be very close. Like, I think Brady could either be a quarterback 10 to like quarterback 15, just depending on how everything plays out. Bruce Arians isn't the head coach anymore. You got Todd Bowles there. So at least the stability is there, but things will change. And so it's interesting to see how Tom Brady will adjust to it.
Yeah,
I think last year was just incredible as far as statistically and how his play on the field. He didn't really have many games where he struggled, but I think you might start seeing. I honestly think this might be the last year of Brady.
Yeah, I mean, there's potential for it for sure. And obviously, the fun of fantasy football is you just never know. He could be QB1 next year. He could throw for 6,000 yards.
Yep.
Am I saying it's likely? Maybe not.
That is what is beautiful about fantasy football.
And I am perfectly okay if I have to eat crow on that statement because I love watching Tom Brady play. But
if Tom Brady throws for 6,000 yards next year, I don't know what we do at that point. What do we do?
I don't know. I'll have to do something
shave your
embarrassing.
head.
I shave my head.
Oh, no, because I'm the one who put the bus one.
Josh will shave his beard and his hair. Yep.
Oh no!
If he doesn't bust,
yep.
Shaves his whole head.
You heard it here first. We're gonna hold him to.
Hold on. We're gonna have to discuss that later on.
Sorry, your wife already agreed to it. Yeah, your wife already agreed to it.
Don't think she did. So, all right, now we go to our sleeper. Who do we think is going to shoot up?
I'm gonna go first.
Yeah, Ethan, go first.
So, my sleeper is Russell Wilson. That's why I picked him to talk about him.
Chalk it.
Yeah, I think he's going to dramatically improve. I think he's going to be safer in the pocket. I think he's going to be more comfortable. And he didn't downgrade offenses. If anything, he improved, I would say. And Denver's just been waiting on a strong signal caller who can play good football. But the other thing with Russell Wilson is he's still young. He's 33 years old. He's still got 4 or so good seasons left in him, maybe more. So I love Russell Wilson. I think he's going to be healthy. I think he's going to be in a new system that's going to fit him a little bit better. Denver Broncos are a Super Bowl watch. So that's my say.
Mine is Derek Carr.
Fair.
I mean, it's
okay.
It's obvious. It's obvious.
Yeah,
he's got the talent. He could do it.
Yeah.
He now has a wide receiver that could, bring him to that next level. So
Ryan has been riding the Raiders since he got Hunter Renfrow. Like he picks up Hunter Renfrow one time and all of a sudden he loves the Raiders.
I don't have Hunter Renfrow, bro.
Not in Dynasty, but you do in our other league. You picked him up and it changed you fundamentally as a human being.
Yeah, you haven't been the same.
I think I traded him away because I don't think I have Hunter Renfrow.
All right, point made. He was on your team at one point and it changed you as a human being.
Yeah, exactly.
You got Hunter Renfrow.
No, honestly, like
Raiders.
No, I
that's the sound you make.
I've liked Derek Carr for the last couple of years, but he just hasn't. He hasn't had. You guys are dorks.
Daddy Derek.
Oh my gosh. He hasn't had a good team around him. So I'm glad that he now has, Josh Jacobs. He's got Darren Waller, and now he has Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of weapons to throw to. Now they just need to fix that O-line. So
yeah.
All right.
Or tweak.
All right. So my sleeper.
If they're ranked 29th, it takes more than just tweaking.
There's just a screw loose.
Just a screw. That's it.
Yeah, just one.
Well, they ended at 28. If we're being fair.
Oh my gosh. Man,
which is up one spot.
Oh man.
So give them some credit. All right, started 29, finished 28. All right,
way to correct me.
That's a good improvement. I mean,
We have fun on this podcast.
Give him some respect. I mean, come on. Up one spot.
Excuse me, sir. 28th.
I regret speaking. Go ahead, Josh.
My sleeper is Zach Wilson.
Ooh.
Zach Wilson.
Here's why. All right, look.
Yeah, tell me why.
Jets have picked 4 and 10. One of them, I just feel it, is either going to be Drake London or a Jameson Williams, or we got to remember the reports. They went after Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
So I think Jameson Williams might be like,
they nearly got Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, and nearly got him until Miami ponied up.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the year, he was figuring it out. And obviously, Corey Davis wasn't there at all. Yeah. Elijah Moore is going to be fantastic this year. They just need one more guy. Like, I think if you give them that one more weapon, the O-line's going to get better. Mekhi Becton's coming back healthy. I think you will see a really good Zach Wilson. Now, I'm not saying like QB like 5 or anything like that. I think you'll see him shoot up from where he was. He was quarterback 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
maybe not QB in the top 10, but
if he's in the top 15, massive jump. But I really believe in Zach Wilson. I think he was looking good. Elijah Moore, Braxton Berrios. If you get one more alpha for him, I think you will start to see the Jets being a really good team.
Yeah. I could see that for sure.
I agree. I agree with that.
And who's your lock, Josh?
My lock, guys, I gotta go Homer. It's Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry. I believe in this one so much.
I believe in the Ravens.
Please don't hurt me again.
No, trust me.
He took his Ravens jersey down from the background.
Yeah, no.
Oh, Josh, are you okay?
All right, I'll tell you. All right, look.
Are you okay?
Look, all right. The Lamar Jackson one, I will hold on to because I really think he's going to hit top 5 status. But if I had to make a lock, I am actually going to say Stafford. I think Stafford stays top 5. Allen Robinson, great pickup there. Hopefully you'll have a more consistent running game. Obviously Whitworth's retired, but they'll be able to fill that. And then Cooper Kupp is still Cooper Kupp. And then I know Odell isn't signed yet. I would almost bet that Odell gets signed to LA.
That would be crazy.
So now you get
there are rumors of him going to Atlanta too. So Atlanta's in the mix for them.
In the mix, but then again, Atlanta should be in the mix for every receiver. So if you're not going to let me pick Lamar Jackson, because I think Lamar Jackson is top 5 without a doubt this year, it would be Matthew Stafford for me.
No, I like that pick a lot better. Anyways, I'm going to change my lock because I don't want to curse him just in case for this next season. So I'm going to go with Justin Herbert for my lock for this next year.
See, that's my lock.
Oh, sorry. Stole your thunder. Should have gone before me, Ryan. Get wrecked.
Yeah.
Mr. Herbster himself, he's just got a better team. Yep. I believe in him. I think he's proved it time and time again to us that he's here to stay and he's one of the best. The only knock on him is being in the AFC West, which,
look,
sorry. Just stay healthy. Keep your guys healthy. Keep them accountable. Don't let them do anything stupid because the first team to have injury problems is going to suffer in the AFC West.
Absolutely.
Which makes sense too with these juggernauts battling twice a year. Somebody's going to get injured. So let's hope it's not the Chargers. But I believe in Herbert. I think he's going to do great this next year. Probably top 3 finish again. So that's my lock. Sorry to steal it from you, Ryan, but I don't want to curse the guy I was.
You just said what I was thinking, so that's my lock as well. I think he's just got such a great team around him, and he's very talented. He's going to be up there for probably quite a few years,
quite some time. Get used to the name Justin Herbert.
Yep,
Justin Herbert.
Wish I would have drafted him.
Yeah, me too. I don't know how
I was going to
get him.
Yeah. Oh well.
Well, guys, that is the end of our first part of STAT-A-THON. We're going to be doing this series. We got running backs coming up next week. Don't forget, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Sleeper. Link in the description. That is Ethan. That is Ryan. And I am Josh. Thank you all for listening and watching the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. And we will definitely see you next week.
Bye.